We just got a crazy good deal on this bike. Unheard of price for this bike. This is a 1974 Yamaha RD200 electric, 2-stroke. Got this thing for $100. So I bought this from an older guy. He was about 75 years old. He said he's owned this for about 15 years. He bought it back in the day for $100. And he said he rode this thing all over the place, had a blast with it. But he said it's been sitting in storage for the last 8 years. He said he last put it away because he went to go fire it up one day. He hit the electric start button and it wouldn't turn over. So he said he thought there was something majorly wrong with it. And that's kind of why he parked it and let it sit. So he finally got it out of storage and decided to sell it for $100. Exactly the price he had into the bike 15 years ago. Hopefully the bottom end is fine. That's what I'm kind of worried about. But yeah, the pipes are extremely clean. Side covers are there. A little dust on them from sitting. I don't think the gas tank has any dents. Fenders look good. Tires look good. They're holding air. No rips in the seat. A little faded, but nothing too bad. Only 4,710 miles. Gauges look really good. A little cracking on the paper in the back there. Clutch pulls in. Feels like the brakes are working. All the controls are there. Oh, there is one little dent in the tank. But I'd say it's about 99% complete. And I mean, for $100, you really can't lose on this one. So today's goal is going to be attempting to get this one to run and drive by the end of the video. So let's get this one off the trailer, start digging into it, see what we find. Alright, little walk around of it. It looks to have the original carbs on there. Those probably need to be cleaned out. You can see the pipes. Looks like no rot on the bottom of the pipes either. Huh. Rear brakes working. The fender should clean up. A little bit of rust there. Has the horn on there yet. There's the tag on the frame. There's the oil tank here. Looks like there is a battery in there. Oh, it has some fuel filters on there. Looks like newer gas line. Doesn't look too bad. Well, hopefully we can get this one running today. Alright, we got this bike in the garage, and the first thing we're going to do is attempt to kick it over and kind of hear what it sounds like. And when I was there, the guy said the bike was locked up, and I quick just went like this and saw that it wasn't. It does sound a little crunchy in there. You can kind of hear it. So I'm hoping that's not the rod bearing that went. Ooh. Yeah. There's a little crunch in there, but it's not locked up, and the guy thought it was before he sold it. So, you know, that's good. It gives us a little hope. And I think he thought it was locked up because he was used to hitting the electric start and having that work. So he didn't really know. Let's begin by checking the oil, see what that looks like. See if there's any metal flakes on the dipstick here. Looks pretty clear. Let's see if it's up all the way. She's a little low on oil. See how it just comes up to the tip of the stick there? Oh, it does turn on. Wow, so the battery does work. Let's see. Electric start. Does not work. Horn? Kinda. You can hear it try to go. But yeah, that doesn't work. Turn signals is missing the turn signal, so it is missing something there. Headlight's working. Here's the run, on, off. Let's mess with that a little bit. Let's see if that electric start's working. Yeah, it definitely has a problem with the electric start. I think that's why he parked it. So at least stuff is lighting up. That's a good sign. Neutral light comes on. I think that's the oil light. Everything else seems to work. So far we're off to a pretty good start. Let's take a peek underneath the seat. Alright, you've got the fuse here. That's the main fuse. You've got your 2-stroke oil right here. You can see that's filled up all the way. We have to check the oil pump, see if that's working. There's the bottom of the seat. But all the wires are hooked up. It looks pretty clean in there. Let's take a peek at the inside of the gas tank, see what that looks like. I'm guessing this is just completely rusted. It doesn't look horrible. There's the cap. Couple pieces of rust in there, but not that bad. Most of it is clear. Yeah, so it doesn't look horrible. Alright, side cover can come off. Check that out. Covers are in really nice condition as well. So these have little springs. Alright, pretty big battery for this little bike, probably because of the electric start. Should we take the tape off and see? Maybe that's why this thing's not working. It looks like we're missing a red wire here too. I don't know if that was for lights or what, but that was connected at one point. Huh. Yeah, we're definitely missing a wire going from somewhere. Yeah, this is the solenoid here. Check this out. What the heck? This is missing the wire completely. This is the electric start solenoid. So this is supposed to have this wire connect directly to here, like that. I wonder if that fell off of there. Yeah, look, that's supposed to connect right to there. Let's just see if that works. We're gonna hold that there. Nope. Wishful thinking, right? Electric start still doesn't work. But that is definitely supposed to connect to there. As you push the electric start button, it should trigger the solenoid and it should fire up. So the trigger wires could be bad too. That's not the problem. Maybe he tried messing with it, trying to get the electric start to work, and it never did. I'm not sure. But oh, I thought that was a problem right away. Thought we fixed the electric start. Apparently not. So let's take a look at the air filter next. We'll work on the electric start later. Let's see how the air box looks. No air filters in it. That's not good. Huh. Completely empty. I'm kind of thinking this older guy probably took it out of storage and then, you know, attempted to get this thing running again. And then just kind of gave up and posted it for sale. So I'm pretty sure there's no gas in it either. Let's just take these gas lines off and take a look. I think when we checked out the gas tank, it looked like it was empty, which is a good thing. Hopefully the carbs aren't super dirty. Alright, let's see if anything comes out. Nothing. Yeah, there's no gas in there at all. So these have that crossover tube. I hate that design. But I mean, look how nice that gas tank is. You don't see them that nice every day. Alright, we've got the coils here. See if those are hooked up correctly. We've got orange going to both, a black and a brown. That looks good. Everything's hooked up over here. All the wiring is intact there. We're basically looking for any broken wires or anything that can cause this not to run. You know, it's been sitting for 8 years. Mice can get to it. You know, rodents can come in there and wreck things like the wiring harness. Ooh, that's in there. These come off. I don't think so. Champion plugs. Interesting. It looks like it's wet, actually. I wonder if he was letting the cylinder soak with some stuff. It smells like gas, though. We've got the Champion QL78C plug. And it looks pretty brown. So at one point this bike was running probably perfect. I'll put that in there. Go to the other side, check that out. That looks pretty good. It does smell like gas. And this is a Champion QL78C. So what we're gonna do is load up the cylinders with some penetrating oil, a little Marble Mystery Oil. Just because they sound kind of crunchy. A little Marble Mystery Oil as well, going down. Get those loaded up. Let those soak for a bit. And then a little Marble Mystery Oil, just in case those rings are a little stuck. What we're gonna do is just slowly turn the engine over and kind of listen to what it sounds like here. Sounding a little smoother as we turn it over. You can kind of hear it clear up a little bit. That sounds pretty good. You know, maybe one of those rings was just a little bit stuck out. And that was causing that scraping sound I was hearing. I hope it's not the bottom end. We'll see. Yeah, it really sounds pretty smooth now. Let's see if we have any spark here. Alright, turn the bike on. Here we go. And we have no spark. Well, that would be a problem. Kill switch is off. Yeah, nothing at all on the spark plug. Huh. So check this out. Nothing's working now. Did we blow a fuse? Let's see if the fuse blew. That would be our luck here. No, it doesn't look like it. Well, what the heck is going on? That looks good. Well, it was turning on a second ago, so something must have happened in that very short amount of time. I don't get it. But now we have no spark and we have no power whatsoever going to this bike. So we're gonna get the voltmeter out and start testing things. Oh, that came off really easily. Oh, now we have power again. But it's real dim. There's gotta be something going on with that fuse. We're gonna take that back off and check that out. I think it's not making good contact. See over on this side, yeah, see how it barely slides in there? So we're just gonna pinch that a little bit. Now it's tight. All right, we pinched the fuse connector. It's still really dim, but at least it's turning on. All right, let's try this again. All right, it is powering on. Still no spark. Nothing at all. Gonna hold this, ground it really well to the engine here. Yeah, we got nothing. We have nothing at all. Let's try clicking the key to one more position here. Nothing. All right, let's try the other side. This bike is on. Nothing. That's not good. Well, that would be why it doesn't fire. All right, we're going right for the points right away. See what those look like. It also could be that the battery's a little bit low. Or maybe a ground came off the frame somewhere and it's not making good contact. We'll check everything out. Here's one point. Yeah, she's a little dirty. Pretty dirty. That one's pretty dirty too. So that could be the problem. We can also see if we're getting power to the points too, if we clean them and that doesn't work. Open these up and just file them down a little bit. And this file basically just takes off all the gunk that's on there. It's a real fine file. Just open that up a little bit. See if that made a difference here. See if we get anything. Still nothing. What the heck? Nothing on both. Well, wasn't the points. Alright, let's see what this battery voltage is at. Maybe it's just a little bit low. Could be low. Seems like the lights started getting dim after we cranked it over a couple times. What? Well, that's weird. 5.28 volts? That can't be. This is a 12 volt battery. Well, that could be the problem. Do we have like a voltage draw from somewhere? Because that should not be. Only 5.36 volts. Alright, we're hooking up a jumper to it. Jumper pack hooked up. Alright, that's more like it. That neutral light did seem dim. So maybe that battery was just dying. But the headlight did come on before. Alright, let's see if we get anything. Oh yeah, check that out. Really good spark. So that was the problem, I think. Just weak battery. I'm guessing that's just a bad battery, not holding a good charge. Even though the neutral light came on and the headlight came on, I don't think it had enough voltage to spark when kicking it over. Alright, let's check the left side. See if that one has spark. Oh yeah. Great spark, very consistent. That looks awesome. So I think the battery was the problem the whole time, but it didn't hurt to clean up those points. Those points look pretty dirty, so now we have really, really good, consistent spark. Let's start working on the electric start, see if we can get that to work. Let's see if we hold this to the prong here on the solenoid, if we get any juice flowing to it. Got an alligator clip, let's hook it up to there. And we'll push the start button, see if we get anything to happen here. Alright, hitting the start button, nothing. So, the button isn't working. Let's see if we hook up voltage directly to the green wire here on the solenoid. We'll see if that sends voltage down and rotates the engine over. So right now, what the solenoid does is there's a trigger when you hit the button that's going to send voltage from this peg here to this peg over here. So as soon as this green wire here going down to the starter gets voltage, we should hear the engine turn over. If we hook up 12 volts to this and nothing happens, the whole starting unit could be bad. So let's see what happens. Hopefully we get something here. So we should hear it turn over when we have 12 volts to this peg. Oh yeah, you can hear it turn over. It's pretty weak, but we can hear it. It's because this wire is so thin. So I'm guessing it's just the start button causing issues. We're not getting the trigger down to here to have this voltage flow from here to here. All right, let's get this battery out of here. We can either charge this up or replace it quick. So it looks like there's another ground wire here could be an issue. It's going to some place. We'll have to look for a broken wire. Clean these up a little bit. So that's going to sit right like that. Connections are cleaned off. Let's try this again here. Push the start button. Nothing. Keep on pushing it. Nothing at all. All right. It's pretty rusty in there. That's where the button is, way down in there. So let's take that plate off and see if we can get underneath there. Take this little guy off first. Get that out of the way. Put that off to the side. We can get this guy off. Maybe. There we go. Now we're looking right here. So this little piece. That looks pretty clear. We'll sand those down. Sand those down. Just a hair. Basically like a set of points here. You want these contacts really clean. That one had some corrosion on it. That looks a lot better. Alright, let's put everything back together and see if that fixed our problem. Alright, we got this all back together. Let's see what happens. Nothing. So what that's supposed to do is send a ground signal down to the blue and white wire down here. So all it does is ground from the handlebars. When you push the button, it sends it down to the blue and white. And there's another wire here that looks like it's brown. That is supposed to have positive voltage going to it. So let's trace those wires up and see if there's a break anywhere. All right, following the wires up, you can see the brown coming into here, right here. That's supposed to have positive. And then you've got the blue and white right here coming into this plug. So let's see if this plug is corroded out or not connecting or whatnot in here. Then we can take a voltage reading too. Prongs look good in there. I think I might have found the problem. Check this out. So in this one right here, You can see all the metal coming through except for that one right there. See that? That one's empty. So I think one of the pins pulled out. See, this one's got 5. This one only has 4 that you can see. Let's see which one that is. Oh, that's the brown one. That could be the problem right there. It's hard to see in here. Oh, look at that. That's pulled right out, that pin. That looks like positive too. So let's push that back in, reconnect it, and see if we get anything. All right, so that's all reconnected. You can see the red and white goes to the brown, making that positive. So that pin was pulled out. So now, let's turn this thing on. Please work here. Push the start button. Oh, that is awesome. Well, electric start's working. So it's just that pulled out pin. Wow. That spins pretty good too. Now that we have electric start working awesome on this thing, let's test compression. So on this bike, I'd like to see like 120 PSI each cylinder. It might be a little bit lower because it's been sitting for so long and the rings might be a little bit stuck. But 120 would be a great number to see. Do throttle open on this. All right, turn this thing on and then we'll just crank her over. Throttle open. Here we go. Yeah, she's a little low. We're exactly at 100, so definitely on the lower side. And that's with it cranking over really fast. It'll probably still run with 100. It'll just kind of be underpowered until those rings get freed up. All right, we can just hold that here. Again, throttle open. Turn this thing on. Throttle open, crank her over. That one's a little bit more. It's like 105. So pretty close to the other cylinder. So, you know, at least it's not extremely low compression. Hopefully it runs with that. We'll see. If not, we'll have to tear apart the top end and probably put some new rings on it. All right, so we have some compression, which gives us a little bit of hope. We have good spark. Let's start tearing into the carburetors and we'll see what those look like. I think we can leave the airbox in there for now and get these off without tearing apart the whole airbox. So these boots just came off like that. It's a little tricky to get in here. I don't know if I can. So this tank can come off. I think it can just dangle here. Here. All right, now we can get this boot off. Get to these. Coming off. All right. It wasn't super easy to get off. Alright, slide was in the right way. Needle feels good. Yeah, carbs look like they haven't been cleaned in a while. Alright, finally the right side carb is coming out. I had to take out that whole bolt here. Alright, slide coming out. let's take a look on the inside. First, open that up. I have a feeling these are going to need the ultrasonic cleaner. How bad could they be, right? Let's see. Ooh, that's not a good sign. They're pretty rough. Get the float out. Float doesn't look too bad. Oh, the needle wasn't stuck. Thought for sure that would have been stuck in there. That's good. Alright, then we've got the pilot here and the main jet there. Bunch of old gas in there. Yeah, look at that. The pilot is most definitely clogged. Yeah, she's really clogged. Let's look at the air screw here. We are about 1 3/4 turns out on the air screw. Yeah, these definitely need the ultrasonic cleaner. Let's get this hose off. We can get the choke off. Looks pretty good. I think that's pretty much it. The seat looks pretty good in there. So what we're going to do is let this sit in the ultrasonic cleaner for a bit. We'll see if that cleans up. Then dump that one in. Alright, working on the right carb now. Get this gas line off. I'll change out that filter for sure. Let's open this guy up. Probably can't be worse than the other one. The other one was pretty bad. Look at all that rust in there. That's crazy. Alright, pull that pin out. Put this over there. Float looks better than the other one. Needle wasn't stuck. That's good. We've got the pilot. Let's get that out. This carb actually looks pretty clean. I think the pilot's even clear. Yep, pilot's clear. Wow. So, this one looks a lot cleaner. Yeah, look at that. And then we've got the air screw right here. We are about 1 3/4 again. Closer to 2. Alright. We can let that soak now. Alright, first carb's out of the ultrasonic cleaner. Looking pretty good. That's all corrosion. That doesn't come off. And then here's the inside of that carb. Looking pretty much brand new. Alright, both carbs are all cleaned up. Let's get these back on the bike. Alright, both carbs are back on, all tightened up. Let's start working on that gas tank. Alright, let's see if the petcock moves here. That looks good. Looks really clean in there. So I can go right back on. Oh, that looks good in there as well. So that can go right back on too. Alright, let's cut some new gas lines. So we're just going to copy these. It's about right there. Alright, gas lines are all hooked up. New filters, new lines. That's looking good. But let's move on to the oil pump. So oil comes from the oil tank down the line. Flows down here. And then into here. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, first we're going to see if the throttle's working. Yep, that looks good. Alright, now there's a bleed screw here. Let's see if oil's going to it. Yep, pouring out of there. That's a good sign. So as long as it's pouring out of there, it's pumping through the whole machine. And the only way we can tell if this thing is working is to start this bike up, give us some revs, and then oil will start pumping up this line, going up here, right to the cylinder. So we'll take out that screw, and oil should be pumping out of that line directly into the cylinder. If it's not, we know there's something wrong with the pump. And we got that line going up there, and then this line going to the other side. All right, oil looked a little bit low, but it looked pretty much brand new. So let's just top that guy off. I think that should be good. All right, we went ahead and charged up the battery overnight. Let's see if she holds the charge. Get this thing hooked back up. Alright, battery's all hooked up. See if it lights up here. Perfect. Alright, we're getting pretty close to the first start. Let's add a little 40-to-1 mix, and we'll add straight gas to it after that, once we know that the oil pump is working. Alright, gas is flowing. No leaking yet from the carbs. Well, we have pretty decent compression. We've got 100 psi each cylinder. We've got the carbs cleaned out, gas going to the carbs, new filters, new lines, and now we're getting good spark as well with that new battery in there and the points clean. So let's see if she fires up. Hopefully it has enough compression to fire here. Let's try it. Choke it. Here we go. That sounds pretty darn good. Sounds so cool. We got it idling good at 1500 RPM. Little leaking out of this pipe. She fired right up too, idling perfectly. Man, oh man. That is a really good sounding bike. Let's see if she fires right back up. No choke. Electric starts working flawlessly. What more can you ask for? That is sounding great. So let's go see if that oil pump is working. We'll check out the oil lines and see if oil is pumping up through those lines to the cylinders here. Loosen this up first. And we'll see if any oil's coming out of there when we start this thing up. So it should be pumping out right through here. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna plug off the port here. Alright, you can see the oil pool in here. So oil is pumping out of there. That's good. So that oil pump is working, at least on that side. Let's go check the other side here quick. Alright, we're on the left side. Let's take a peek. Again, we're gonna hold that. Let's fire this thing up. You can see it leaking all that oil down in there. So both lines are getting pumped full of oil to the cylinders. Alright, went ahead and cleaned it up a little bit. I mean, that really pops. Look how nice that pipe came out. The gas tank's nearly perfect, so it's looking pretty good. Let's start it up one more time and then we'll attempt to take this thing for the first ride. Hopefully it goes through all the gears and it shifts fine. We'll see. Here we go. It's been sitting for about 20 minutes. Well, first ride on this thing went really well. Not a single issue with it, except the front suspension feels a little rough. Other than that, I mean, it's almost perfect. Always fires right up instantly with the electric start. Revs out completely, goes through all the gears, both brakes work. I mean, it is running great. So we got extremely lucky on this one. The guy that sold it to me thought there was a major issue with it, and it ended up being just a pulled out wire in one of the plugs for the electric start to work, and then the battery was just drained a little bit, and then the points were a little dirty, and that's basically it. Oh, and the carbs were pretty dirty too, but that was just probably from sitting for the 8 years. So I'm guessing what happened with this one is that plug pulled out, that wire pulled out. I'm guessing he was maybe doing something underneath the seat. The wire pulled out. That prevented the electric start from working. He tried replacing the battery, and then it wouldn't start, and he figured there was something seriously wrong with it. And that's kind of why he parked it and then ended up selling it to me for $100. So we ended up getting a great deal on this because of a very small issue, which was very lucky. But yeah, this one turned out pretty good. We're gonna clean this one up a little bit more, and this one's gonna be good to go. Everything is perfect on it. Carbs don't leak, engine's tight. That pipe isn't leaking anymore either. I think it was just the oil we put down the cylinder that was leaking out of the pipe on the initial run. But yeah, everything is working great. And yeah, this one's complete. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video on the 1974 Yamaha RD200 electric. Picking this thing up for $100, diagnosing it, and then getting it to run and start for the first time. Always satisfying hearing these old bikes start up for the first time after sitting for so long. So another one saved. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video, and until next time, we are out.